So I think I like the way that it was filmed. I like that whole. I actually really like the beginning. I like how everything is done communally, so it takes much longer to do things, but there's like a ceremonial aspect to it.
What do you think?
I did enjoy that too. I don't know who you got.
Yeah, I love the beginning. I love what I said, the community aspect of it. I love how everyone is like an actual community. You know, it's like people interacting with each other. They know each other. They love each other. They want to protect each other. I think that was a really good depiction of that.
Yeah, it made me feel like living like that isn't so bad. You know, I was like, hey, that looks pretty relaxing. That's a good way to live, right there.
Yeah, except the fucking mayor selling you out. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty good critique on politicians in general. Politicians are always selling out the people.
Yep.
Yep.
The best scene in the movie. Oh, sorry.
Way he just.
Wait, what was the best scene in the movie, Ben?
When the OG was out there naked, just free living, doing his thing.
Yeah, talking to the plants.
His antennas went up, and he got that headshot. Oh man, that was the highlight for me.
Yeah, that was ice cold.
That's headshot in like filmmaking history.
Yeah, that was pretty graphic.
Yeah, pretty graphic. Usually I can deal with graphic, but that was Yeah,
that was a lot. I mean, but I feel like it was deserved though. Like sometimes violence is like kind of out of nowhere, and it's like, oh my god, like where did this come from? But I mean, those people inflicted so much like damage to that community that I feel like the ends were it was justified. What they had to do was more than justified, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although I do want to ask you guys' perspective on why did the doctor, or maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, but the doctor tries to save that woman who got her fucking hand blown off.
Personally, I think that just shows you non-white people's regard for life.
I mean, that's what I was thinking too, but I was like, but why her though? Like they were so problematic.
Well, I'm looking at it as a war aspect. So you want to keep them alive so you can interrogate them, and then you kill or imprison after you interrogate them. Try to get information from them, construct the information from them. Like, why are you doing this?
That is a good point.
It's not good to look at it from like a human aspect. To look at it from like a war aspect, like genocidal aspect.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't surprised when she saved the white girl. I kind of expected it because I guess she like values her life still, even the circumstances are her basically killing her and all her people. They still have like like what Ezekiel said, a regard for human life, and that is something that Black people and other non-white people actually do have.
In spades, yeah, for sure. Like even against like the aggressors, and I mean, I don't really. I'm not complaining about it necessarily. I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to pick at it too much, but I guess Swap's perspective made more sense. I guess you keep her alive to try to get information, because otherwise, to save her for any other reason would be like inconsequential. Like, why save her for any other reason? What else could you possibly gain from saving somebody like that?
I feel like they shot off her hand, and she was like on her deathbed, so it's like she can't really even do anything now.
I mean, you're right. You're not wrong.
What do you think would happen if the tables returned? So, like, what do you think if it was a non-white person wounded in that situation? You think they would have
blew her fucking head off? No, they would have blew her fucking head off for sure.
Never. you saw there was. Oh, go ahead, Mary.
Go ahead.
Oh, let me just make this last point. I was just saying, like.
Okay, yeah. So I thought it was pretty interesting.
Oh, sorry.
Ezekiel, then Mary.
Okay. I was just gonna say that those like how they were unloading the clips on those people. That just kind of shows me that if the tables were turned, they definitely wouldn't have done the same thing. That's the point I was making. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I totally agree. And sorry, you didn't interrupt. It's just my mic is in and out, so I can't tell when the speech has started or stopped. Sorry. But yeah, so the fact that she has the ability to like it's like almost a superpower to tap into that white fragility. Please help me. It was so reminiscent of Get Out for me when the white girl was like, it's me, and then put on that really soft smile to get him to stop choking her. It's like their superpower at this point. And I just, to see it at that moment, it was just like, yeah, this is like ABC textbook of how to get out of trouble 101 for a white woman.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I also thought that it was like the mindset of a white supremacist when they were going through that town and they didn't see anybody there, and then that woman just started shooting at the fucking building just because she wanted to shoot something. Like she made that comment like, I just want to shoot something, and then she started shooting like randomly into buildings, and I was like, man, what the fuck? Like that made me so fucking mad, man. This movie pissed me off a lot. Like it took a lot for me not to turn this shit off. Like I'm not even lying.
You're gonna turn off all our movies you watch.
Bro, this shit it's fucking it's disgusting, bro. It disgusts me like to. I don't even know where to start, bro. This shit is a lot, bro. That's a lot. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's people 101. This movie.
What were you saying, Swa?
Well, you been mute yourself during your conversation. During what you're saying.
No, I was done talking. I said this movie is white people 101, but I can't elaborate by just how like they don't value human life, how they justify what they do. You know, he killed a kid. You know he killed a kid, but he's still trying to justify it. You know, it reminded me of what Ash told us about the Middle Eastern, about about how Middle East they're like the men there are like on average, like I don't know, they're all less than 6 feet now because during like the invasion, that like whole 20-year thing, they were just killing anyone over 6 foot tall, any men. So this is how white people like operate. This is a great way to understand their mentality, I believe.
Yeah, and look at how that man kept trying to justify shooting the little boy. I mean, it's wrong that they're killing these people regardless. You feel me? But to try to justify killing a child, like, and then like those fucking people who were in the camp with him were like, trying to give him grief for murdering a child, which is wrong, obviously. But they're all fucking murdering all these people for nothing. They're just murdering them. They're for no reason. I just don't understand, man. I don't understand. It's too much, bro.
I want to mention the scene where they're all talking in the room and they're waiting to get the classification. Well, they're waiting to get the okay to kill those two people, though, right? But prior to that killing, what's really important? Like, what are they classified? Are they white or not? Because the people who do the classification have the power. I'm sure they were getting the commands from white people. They're there because they're white, and white people are the reason that entire thing was happening. But the important thing is, before they were killed, what was on topic, were they white or not? And they were classified as not white. Therefore, let's kill them and have fun doing it. And what would that woman say? She was like, "Oh yeah," like she like had some kind of orgasmic response to that. To white people.
They even have sex after they kill those. After they ambush, the man and woman in that car. Literally right after that, I was like, man, this is fucking disgusting, bro. I'm disgusted.
Interpretation of the realities.
I wasn't done talking, but it's just a good example of how white people are they kill for fun and they have fun doing it. It's like white people kill for fun and have fun doing it. All right, now
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I was just saying that was like two different realities we're living. You know, those people are there having to kill to protect themselves, and why? And I mean, the entire time that was a game for those white people. You know, they're talking about what kind of weapons they were using. I thought that was pretty interesting. Like that kind of let me know that this is a game for them. Like not that somebody hired them to do it, but that it was a game for them.
I agreed because I don't know if you remember, there was a scene where one of the guys who was a part of the hunt, he was talking about how he was gonna fucking murder his wife, but like he couldn't find her or some shit like that, and then that's why he's here to get that release.
Oh yeah, that I love how he was like still hunting her down, like still like getting some like excitement from like hunting her down through him mentioning that. And
Yeah.
that whole God part, I'm down to talk about that later, but someone wants to talk about it now, by all means.
What part do you mean exactly? I'm Swat. What part were you talking about exactly?
The part you just mentioned where he says God allow him to be there to release his pain.
Oh yeah. That's right. He did say that. Yeah, I forgot the words because just him saying that shit was so odd to me. But
Ben had a question in the chat. He was asking like, why did the German guy? Why do you think he was killing people, like his own people?
That's the self-hate. I think that's well. I thought that was like I thought that was some message about self-hate that white people have against themselves. That's what I was thinking as that was happening, but I could be wrong. That could be too surface, but that was my first initial thought about that.
Well, yeah, it's that's a part of the layered insanity of it all. But like, it's just he represents white people kill for fun, and he's like German, right? And what do? They like justify killing 6 million, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like a lot of people who look kind of like them, but they did it anyway. So they were justified to have fun doing it, and they'll wear these snazzy uniforms and look cool and blah blah blah. It's all insanity, and it's all for fun. Well, it's for genetic survival, but they want to have fun doing it, and they want to get glory doing it too. This is why the whole point system is really important. That whole how they're scoring.
Yeah. Who got the kill and all that shit? Yeah.
It's like a video game, which is like two fun things. So once again, killing is fun to white people, and like this director is subconsciously or consciously aware of that.
This movie was giving me hella Westworld vibes.
Yeah, the movie is super deep. I love how it has like a lot of elements of racism, environmental racism, like racism that involves killing non-white people in order to prevent white genetic annihilation. And my internet was messing up earlier, but I wanted to talk about the conversation at the dinner table when they were reclassifying these people that they had working for them. These the people from I think they're from like San Paulo, and they were just saying that they're from a rich place. They didn't know a name from where they're from. And I love how the guy was like, what did he say? I wrote it down. What did he say? He said, oh, they're not white. He's like a white Mexican, And that's like a really harsh reality. I see a lot of people do this thing where they destroy themselves when they try to ascend to whiteness. So when you try to ascend to whiteness, you are basically conforming and like suppressing your own cultural identity, your own spiritual identity in order to be something that's not real, are healthy, are sustainable. So watching them get murdered had no sympathy. And the fact that they were willing to kill other brown people just to ascend to whiteness shows you how like that politician was willing to sacrifice his whole fucking town for some money or whatever he was going to get from the
Absolutely.
And this movie has a lot of references between cowboys and natives. Like even one of the characters calls one of the people cowboys. And so I see a lot of native contact and European contact symbolism, especially when you first see the white people on the dirt bikes and when the natives from Bacurau, they're all on the horses. And it's like, it's very, very in your face. And also they're being invaded. That's them being invaded. It's a symbol of them on their horses in the field being invaded by these murderous, horrible entities. And I also got the I got the feel that that white passing male would have been better off if his girlfriend was not there. I saw that as a tragic arrangement, you know. And he said they're not white. Her lips and nose give it away. I actually put LMAO over that part because it was hella. It's very, very, very funny how he they examine our facial features to determine if we are like non-white basically. And he also said, "You work for us. Don't take our kills." Just a lot of like, you know, remember your place. You're not white. Remember your place. You're not white.
Yeah.
And a lot of all this movie is full of symbolism. Like, as the two people from the community were in a car, they're like trying to drive away. They're praying to Jesus as they're being hunted by these two white people, and they get murdered. Jesus does not save them. Does not stop them. Does not stop the bullets. Does not stop the death from happening. And China, you mentioned this earlier about the white people having sex, but after they killed that person, even while they were shooting, she was panting like she was having sex. So even the firing of the gun is all like a sexual act.
Yeah, that's exactly the you worded that perfectly, bro. That's exactly what I was trying to convey. But I feel like you definitely illustrated it a little bit better than I did.
Yeah, Trey.
Also, what was this one?
Thanks for decoding a lot of this. I also was decoding a lot of the language they were using. The term Bacurau, the title of the film, which is based off like that area's region, which is based off of a bird, and the white woman or the person who's ascending, trying to ascend to whiteness, she's already like calling it like inferior terms like small, or she asks if it's extinct, if the bird is extinct, you know. So when you're trying to ascend to whiteness, you know, it's a self-destroying, self-negating activity.
Also, I'm thinking about language when they were inside when the white people were inside the house, how the guy was talking about, you killed a kid. He was trying to perform as if he cared about what was happening. And I wrote down, even when white people don't like white supremacy, they will still be complacent and practice it, you know, just as his teammates were. So even though he was faking empathy, of course that was not real at all. Even though he was using the language in defense of some of these people, it was all a facade. He was definitely, you know, a white supremacist as well. And even by him calling the old white guy a Nazi, is him performing. It's a performance. It's not really real. It's not going to actually stop him from doing his mission. It's not constructive at all either.
Yeah, he had no desire to stop killing. He just wanted to judge that man because his perceived moral line is to not murder children. But what's the fucking difference? If you know, like if you're killing indiscriminately, you're killing indiscriminately. You can't create fake moral codes for yourself.
Yeah, they were gonna kill that entire town. Let's not be confused what they were gonna do. They were gonna do a small genocide on Bacurau.
Yeah. Also, notice the guy who got machete to death, he was in their museum and he was stealing art from the museum. Basically a retelling of history, how colonizers will go to like black continents and brown continents, yellow continents, and kill people there and then take their art and then put it in museums. Just like a lot of symbolism there. And notice how they didn't kill the enemy, they buried him underneath the ground as a reminder, hey, this may happen again, but you need to remember who our enemy is, how they operate, and what they're capable of, you know.
Yeah, and like what he said at the end, this is only the beginning. Yeah, because as I mentioned in our previous discussion, like their genocidal nature is only evolving, and what that means is that they're only developing new ways to genocide, you know. And this movie is just a small glimmer of what that looks like, you know.
That's true.
The Panama deception will give you another example of what that looks like, but that's a real example of what genocide looks like.
And also the that's a good point that you made, Swa, about like that just being the beginning, because the thing about it is it's not always, like hitting you right over the head. It's not always a concentration camp, and it's not always like some sort of death camp. It's just long term. So if they're doing genocidal practices over fucking 40 years plus, what I'm saying, black people will have been free, since like the end of slavery, or they've been able to be, a part of society since Jim Crow and the civil rights era and shit like that, which was like in the 60s and all that shit. But it's 2020 and motherfuckers are still getting slaughtered like consistently. So that's genocide. That's a long game. You know what I'm saying? That's a long-term process. It's not all at once. It's spread out over time, but the goal is still the same.
Yep.
I liked how, because their community was so like one and they were so connected, that you couldn't like take one of them out. Like they were all in a space together. And so the white people like were the ones that were having the infighting, and like, which is usually like the reverse. Usually like white people are very like on the same page, and they have like non-white people always fighting with amongst each other. So I really liked seeing that in this incredibly like diverse place. There could have been other hierarchies based on who's the darkest, who's the lightest, or whatever, but they were all just connected in like one unit.
Yeah.
And it helped them so much.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, Ash, thanks for saying that, because we have to remember that everything that the white people do is a projection of their true selves. They want us displaced, and like I also wrote down panic, like because when they were wiring the town for the electricity to go out, what that white woman says that they were gonna panic because of that, but because they were like a community. They were a whole community. They were able to defend, and that person knew we were under attack, and then they came together as a community. But also, I'll go back to saying what I was saying. The projection thing is that they want brown communities like fighting each other and like in a constant state of chaos and no balance, because that is their mind. That's their nature. It's unbalanced. So they want to project that onto us. So I think that's really important.
Let me chime in real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Go, man, go.
No, so in Brazil, the government and the police are so corrupt that the gangsters are actually the police. As we speak, that's how it is right now today. They regulate the streets, especially in the favelas. And when Pacote went to his boys that he used to be, mobbing with, and they, he reconnected with his gangster buddies. I think it was symbolic of the revolution, of who's going to be at the forefront of the revolution. It's going to be when we wake up, these soldiers that are killing each other. I know in East Oakland they have AKs. There's a lot of AKs. They got AR-15s, Glocks. I mean, they're armed to the teeth. I mean, somebody recently was letting off rounds just in the air. My friend was telling me just this. I mean, some kind of really, really high-powered automatic weapon. So I'm just saying, when it comes down and we get together, we do have a revolutionary army intact. We just got to get their minds.
Yeah, that.
I agree. I want to touch on what you were saying right now, Benjamin. I totally agree, man, about that, because I think that I know for a fact that most inner cities in America, whether it's Los Angeles or New York or wherever, Baltimore, wherever, the gang members that are there, their skill set is better served to support their community rather than attacking each other. But the way that white supremacy works, it's like I don't know how it is everywhere else, but in Los Angeles specifically, it's a huge black versus brown dynamic. It's this whole, Mexicans versus black people kind of situation. It's like a dog chasing its tail. And if instead of going around in this fucking savage circle over and over again, and people were able to band together, then the revolution could actually be a more realistic thing to come in our lifetime. But you're right though, the people's minds are lost. Like people are addicted to the fucking Christian church. Like that's just, I guess that's one part of a larger puzzle. But to get people out of these destructive mindsets is of the utmost importance, man. And I think it was really important that you said what you said, and I appreciate your opinion and your perspective. So thank you.
Yeah,
I wanted to.
Well, hold on, Trey. I just wanted to reminds me of the back in the day they had like guns for Christmas gifts in the hood, where like you would wake up every day and watch the news and see all these fucking guns being given to like the law enforcement. I'm like, damn, we could literally have this is a solution to our problem. These guns, turning them on the enemy, the people killing us. This is a solution right here, but we're exchanging them for trinkets from our masters, our white supremacists.
Yeah, turning in handguns for fucking RC cars and shit.
Yeah, I wanted to. Did anyone notice when the white people in the film were shooting? When they were under any type of threat, how scared they got? Did anyone notice that? Did anyone notice how like unskilled they were when actually facing someone who was armed? Yeah,
actual conflict. They didn't expect.
I personally think that when things do happen the way they're supposed to happen, I do think that will be the majority of them, because truly they live in fear, and fear is it messes with your aim, it messes with your ability to pull a trigger, messes with a lot of your like
your cognitive functions,
cognitive functions, visual aids are distorted. All these things are happening. So I saw so much fear controlling their bodies, and I was like, oh, it's not that hard. It's gonna be easy for me to get a couple,
I wanted to say that.
I wanted to say, with Trey's point, it's really interesting how everyone in that community in Bacurau is so calm. Like they're literally on psychedelics, and you don't see like them ever exert any sort of like anything besides when the child dies. Like people scream, but it's even that is like a reserved like sort of pain. Whereas like the white people are so off the rails constantly, like just emotionally like insane like throughout the whole movie. And I think that was like really important what Trey was saying. Like I forgot my point, but I was just saying that like it's really important to not like base everything in fear and emotions. And if you're like really centered in your community, I think you can feel that like that strength with numbers to like not let you feel, because they're all like living individualistically. So when they're afraid, it's like they're afraid because they don't have anyone but themselves. And I think that really affects how they can handle their emotions throughout like that scene.
I agree. And I wanted to also touch on what Trey said about the fear. I think that in addition to fear, it's to me, I think your opinion is correct, but I also think it was more like it was an ego kind of situation, because they, in their minds, the mayor set it up to where like these people were easy pickings, like fucking like ducks in a row, and all they had to do was go there and shoot them. So to me, when all the shooting started happening, their ego got checked very quickly. Like their whole dynamic was flipped immediately. And I think in addition to fear, I think their ego started being challenged, and they didn't expect that to happen, and that fucked them up pretty bad as well, I would say.
I think right before the guy gets macheted, I think he could have shot, but I think he decided just to die for some reason. Who's noticed that? Who noticed that part? Like he could have shot back, but he just said, well, finally I'm free of this albino mutant albino mutant flesh. I'm free now.
I think he was just stunned. I think he was just stunned.
I thought it was weird that he didn't shoot back.
I thought he was petrified. I thought he was literally frozen in fear. I don't think he wanted to die. I think he wanted to very much live, like the white woman who got her fingers blown off. I think they all wanted to live. I do think he was just scared. Like he shot in the neck, and there's another human rushing at him with a machete. Like this guy is done, done for. So I think it was a realization that there's no way out of this. Even if I do shoot this person, I'm still gonna die.
Yeah, I think even the setup, it's like this supposed to be like curated like retreat for them. But I don't even think that they're thinking about worst case scenarios because they think that it's all set up perfectly for them. Like it's like
that's the ego. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
In that moment, I think he's like so stunned because like he realizes that this is an actual reality. This is not your vacation.
Absolutely.
Not a video game. Like
that shit was an ego trip. They fucked them up bad. You're absolutely right, man. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for for expanding upon that.
Did you notice did you notice how they had the TV on in the middle of the nighttime scene when they were just showing videos of people getting murdered? Did y'all see that? You remember seeing that?
Yeah, but wasn't that what was the main guy's name?
Bacote.
Yeah, Bacote. That was him. Wasn't that him? Hitting licks back in the day and shit.
Yeah, from back in the day.
Yeah, top 10 moments.
What was he? So he was killing people and filming it, or what?
Yeah. Well, like no,
he was they weren't filming.
They weren't filming it. It was just like captured on CCTV. You could tell by the angle and whatnot. Some of it probably.
He was just killing regular people in Brazil before he went to that town.
Yeah, he was a hitman. He was a hitman.
Yeah, he used to be a gangster. That's why Benjamin was talking about that, like about how he went to go see those guys, and he brought them back to the town to help his village defend themselves against those people that were hunting them.
Yeah.
Well, my question is, what was the reason for the initial attack? Was it over water? They wanted to clear the village and why did they attack the village initially?
I think they wanted to exterminate it just to get it off the map. They wanted to just
yeah. Oh my, Trey, I wanted to talk about that because remember earlier in the movie, the village wasn't even coming up on the map anywhere.
And
I can hear what Jair is saying, and he said the village wasn't even coming.
They're trying to wipe these people off, like
genocide.
Man, that shit was crazy.
Also, in real life, the map is completely not accurate. They make the smallest continent, they put it beneath Europe, and all of these misguiding things to cause confusion around where Africa is, how big it is, and it's just full of lies, and it makes Europe look like the center of the actual world, even on those giant globes. And these are all misdirection and things that are created to cause confusion.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, go ahead, or whatever.
I wanted.
So yeah, they want something and they want to have a blast getting it, and jeez.
I really enjoyed the showcase of how they practice oneness. Like they showed it from the very beginning when the woman was coming in from, I'm just going to suggest main city, Brazil or something, or just the main city center. And then coming in with the medical supplies and how everybody carried it in I think it was her mother's funeral. I'm not sure her relation to the character, but how everybody touched it and guided it through. It just shows her baggage is our baggage. It's just, that was a very good showcase of oneness for me. And also I found this is quite unrelated, but that character in particular, she looked very much like Mariela Franco, who was an activist in Brazil. And she was killed back in 2018, early March. And she was on her way to a protest, on her way to a meeting for women in the local favela areas. And it was very empowering for Black women, and she was assassinated. Actually, that's what I would call it. She was on her way to the on her way to the meeting, and then got stopped in traffic and got shot. Prior to this, she had started night schools for black women in the favelas. So the for the ones that were single mothers and didn't have childcare, so they'll be able to educate themselves and elevate themselves and bring money into their community. So she was a very powerful figure, and the fact that somebody who was doing such an amazing thing for her community got killed just for the sake of doing good, it's just very telling of how they actually want to keep the pace of the Brazil's group economic growth and like unity.
Mary, I want to touch on what you just said about that. I think that I know for a fact economic independence from white people I think that's like the greatest fear of white supremacy.
That's a death sentence for most brown people who attempt that.
Yeah, any black person or not even black, any non-white person who's preaching economic empowerment and forward trajectory, it seems like they're always murdered all the time. It's like without fail, because they have too much clout or whatever the situation might be. And also, I wanted to, on an unrelated note, I wanted to talk about. Remember when the mayor came back to town with all those supplies, and the doctor was saying that this medicine will like dull your senses and shit. Is that what they took when they is that the psychedelic thing that they took?
I was confused between that and whether or not it was the herbalist or the man that was just out in nature in his greenhouse. I thought he made them initially.
Oh, okay. Is that so? Because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure completely. I didn't really know.
Yeah, we don't know the full story, but I'm just assuming him, like the guy who was creating the plants, and the doctor may have helped him at some point in time, grow some psychs, It's community, safe space.
Yeah, I think
that's like the first thing he puts in the main character's mouth. Like that's the first thing he puts when she arrives into the city or the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a question about that. Like, do you guys think they were kind of like on those the entire time, or?
I don't think the entire time, but I think in key moments they were.
Well, I think they're aware that there's true power and psychedelics, especially when it comes from nature.
Mm-hmm.
So they're aware of that. So they harnessed that when they needed it. So when they used it in battle, just how like if you look at they're doing it in a pure nature way, but if you want to like analyze it further, we can look at how white people during these wars were giving each other like meth, heroin to like kill each other to keep the kill going, to keep them up longer. Those people living in tanks having to like chew on all kinds of uppers and opioids to keep the killing going.
Yeah, during World War II, like Germany was giving all their soldiers like capsules of meth, capsules of cocaine, and they were like they'll be carrying a rocket launcher, and then they'll be like doing meth just so they could like fight for literally days. Like they would go days while being high and just killing. And there's this kid I watched, and they were talking about how like when Germans got this drug. It literally allowed them to do like blitzkriegs and all these like intense ambushes. Like when I say intense ambushes, I mean like on a regular basis. All this stuff.
We need 24/7 assault.
Yeah, I thought one thing that I liked in the movie a lot was kind of before they went into battle, while they were digging the grave, and the kids kind of ran into the field, and that brown child died, unfortunately. But how they were it looked like they were preparing for war when they were dancing and stuff. I thought that was like, it seemed like at all times there was always like a spiritual element to what they were doing.
Yeah, like
that's a good catch, bro. That's a really good catch.
Oh, all right. I want to break that down further, Ezekiel. It's so amazing that you said that, because whenever a black person or whenever African or whenever a non-white person dies, that should be considered an act of genocide, and genocide is a declaration of war. So, and they were aware of that. So that's why they rallied behind that, because that's what we need to normalize, that we're being genocide, and any loss of African life is a declaration of war against us. And that's how I break that down.
Yeah. Well, one other point I wanted to make too was about the I think his name was Lagoon, or from his point when he was brought into the movie, I kind of saw them like identify him as like their warrior. So even though he's kind of he's taking lives and stuff, they understand how like necessary it is, or is how important
Yeah, it was justified, definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
And with that too, just like the community in general, like it seemed like you guys were kind of like you guys were saying, like it kind of seemed like everyone had their role and their part to play. Yeah. Even they had whores and gigolos, you know, but they were still like respected, and you know, people still respected them. So I thought that was also, I thought that the warrior thing and how important he was to those people was very important. That's just how I felt. I just wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, you could tell he cared for all of them, and they care for him as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just to chime in on what Ezekiel was saying, how I love how when the guy, the big guy, I guess the guy who was a mob hitman, he asked the woman, "You think he went too far?" And then she's like, "No." Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of times when Black people do actually defend themselves, they're constantly and like ostracized for not wanting to be murdered and subjugated and abused underneath the system of racism and white supremacy.
Yeah, I want to add to what Trey just said, and also say and like comment on what Jair has been saying. He said he keeps saying that it was justified, but I don't think it was justified. I think he had a responsibility. That was his responsibility to defend his people. That was his responsibility. There's no justification that needs to be brought there. This is a responsibility. This is cosmic responsibility to do what is necessary to defend himself and his people.
I can agree with that, but yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I agree totally. If you can do something, you should. So,
I wanted to also ask you guys like opinion about kind of. So it seemed like everything kind of started happening when the grandma died, you know. So I think it was very significant when they weren't able to find themselves on the map, you know. So I don't know if like that's related in a sense, like the grandma dying and them not being able to find themselves on the map anymore. Like I don't know if the grandma kind of carried some responsibility. You know, they didn't really ever explain why the doctor was also upset with her. You know, so.
Well, I wanted to respond to you directly, bro. The doctor was drunk. Remember they were talking about because they even commented on the fact that when she's sober, she's a good person. Like, but the alcohol was making her act so like erratically at the funeral. That's why she was all fucked up like that. But I do want to talk about the point you made about how all this shit started happening once the elder was gone. You know what I'm saying? I can't. I'm sure. I don't know if the grandma like had clout with the mayor or some shit like that, but. A lot of times in a lot of familiar structures, when the elder is gone, the rest of the family kind of suffers, like pretty badly when the elder is gone. That happens a lot, like just very frequently. Yeah, and that's a perspective I didn't think about until you just said that. So thank you for bringing that point out. Yeah.
Yeah, and like to try to decode that even further, I think the Black woman could be represented like Africa, like. She's like the African mother, and like when her death is like the separation of those people from like Africa, and then that they're in a weaker state, so the invaders come, right? And like none of this is said, but that's what happens in the film. Like,
yes, it's heavily implied though. It's very heavily implied.
I agree with I definitely agree with Swab said and what Ezekiel said. I didn't catch that actually, and I do think it is some type of subconscious manifestation. I looked at pictures of the directors and writers, and they're both white passing people. So I don't think it's intentional, but I do think subconsciously that truth was subliminally or symbolically let out for sure.
That's true, because sometimes authors write pieces of work and they don't necessarily mean for a specific meaning, but other people's lenses can offer perspectives they didn't even have. So, I mean,
Yep.
That's how art works. You know what I'm saying? So
like, did you guys also catch it? I think when they the general, when they had dug him, like put him in that prison underground, or it was when the mayor was being casted away, like they flashed the image of the woman. I don't know if you guys saw that, you know.
I didn't see that, but I can see why they would though. I could. That's kind of like bringing her justice in a way.
Yeah. It's really important to understand that he wasn't being casted away. He's being taken to be shot like the animal that he was.
Oh, I thought
think-
that they were.
Well, they buried him underground, didn't they? Didn't they bury him underground, like alive?
We're talking about
the mayor.
We're talking about the mayor.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah, he's going to get shot in the woods.
Oh, I thought
not by the cactus, not by the animal in the desert.
Yeah, he's going to get shot by that.
Who was gonna shoot him though?
I didn't see anybody go with him.
The person had a shotgun. He was taking him out to kill him.
Oh, I didn't notice that the guy had a shotgun. I didn't notice that. I just saw the guy pulling the donkey. I didn't see the gun though. But yeah, I mean, I guess so. That's right then.
Yeah, justice right there. So what you yeah, I think it was a very powerful film, like a very, very powerful film, very like solution orientated film, you know. What do you guys opinions?
It was a hard watch. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to watch. I'll tell you that. That's all I can really say about
Definitely solutionary orientated, because it was definitely, I believe it was a hard watch as well, but the fact that each step of the way, the ridiculing of the mayor, the making sure they do that process, stripping him down naked, them constantly being naked as is like a form of liberation and letting their skin breathe and being able to detect more, like the fact that he could hear or they were aware that there were other people around. Yeah, that was really good for me. That just, yeah, I enjoyed all of their practices. It's ingrained. Even having their own little personal museum in the city town lot, I thought that was very beautiful. I thought the fact that when they looked on the actual GPS maps on the internet and they couldn't see that they were there, he made sure he had an actual physical copy, or like, we do exist, we are here, remember that. Like, it was, I love their teaching.
Hey Mary, I wanted to talk about what you just said about like to talk about the map one more time. They want non-white people to be invisible, and I think that's another way to keep the visibility very low, is to say you don't exist.
Yeah. And also the town is complaining about wanting water. Sorry, the town is complaining about wanting water. The man's coming in, anything you want, I'll give to you. Do you want medications? Do you want drugs? And they're like, no, we need sustainable living. We need water. And it's like, well, I can't give you those. So it's almost like we failed in this area. We don't want it to be part of the statistic. It doesn't exist anymore. Like Simpsons EPA, just gone.
Yes.
Like very much that mentality. But yeah, the fact that they had it in their mental psyche to know that we're here, we exist. I think that all of it was like a foreshadowing and a ritualistic practice of making sure they sustain and stay, which they did.
Yeah, I think that was a really strong, like, I agree with everything you said about the map, and it's really important to like rely on our own things that we make on our own, because if not, they can just change whatever and change your reality and just gaslight you. And
Definitely.
I thought it was really interesting how like they use their guns from like their museum within their history. And I was wondering, like, I wonder how many other colonizations they fought off using those guns. So I thought it was really interesting. And I thought it was also interesting because in a different context, the white people were using guns because they were vintage. They had no connection to them. It was just like a style and a type of aesthetic that was like, oh, like this is what we're gonna use because it has this vintage hipster look. Whereas like those people's guns actually are like generational and have like much more meaning to them.
That's a silly papa right there. Jeez. Yeah.
Well, I think the movie definitely was solution oriented, like Mary was saying. Agree with everything she said. I think that one of the solutions I saw that was emphasized was community all throughout
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I definitely, as a solution, clearly we need to start banding together as a community. And
Yeah.
I also wanted to make another point. When that family that drove off in the middle of the night and they like decided to separate themselves, causing their demise. I also thought it was really interesting how she was praying to God. When she was doing that, I was like, it's like you're asking to die. You know, like
Yeah, yeah.
you're like
She left the nest. She left the nest where she was most safe because she
and
was.
asking white Jesus to protect her. You know, like
Yeah,
your culture, your family is here to protect you, but you're gonna separate from them and then ask white Jesus to protect you.
man. If that was my husband, I would have let him go. Like, have a safe drive.
Worshiping like Jesus Christ, worshiping Jesus Christ is worshiping Black death and Black suffering. They are
Yes, indeed.
You cannot separate them ever, one and the same. So like, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, we need to that needs to be normalized. You know,
That was a damn good point, bro.
they left the community and they prayed to a God that if you break down the origins of Christianity, you will understand that this religion is origins is based in white people surviving, and their survival is assured because Black people are suffering and dying. You know,
Yeah, depending on non-white death.
yes, non-white death. So I think it's really important to notice, like, we saw like all colors of life, come together, and fight against, their oppressors, the evildoers, the wicked creators, the conjurers of wicked destruction.
The conjurers, bro.
Yeah, it's like the only thing they can create is death, it seems. Jeez. Oh my God.
It is what it is, my G.
I also wanted to comment on Ben when he asked like what he thought what we thought was the original issue, like the original issue, as to why they were being attacked. I think that the mayor kind of realized he wasn't going to be able to get votes from these people, so he kind of just ended up selling them out to the white people to bring out their little retreat. I thought at least that's how I thought.
I agree.
I think the mayor completely and 100% sold them out to get killed.
Yeah, if you look in the car,
he sold them out.
when the mayor comes and then the car's open, you'll see those little waters that they also had in wherever they were staying, their retreat area, and there was each water for each person in the sitting there for each white person. Yeah, so he was literally expecting to go to an empty community and only have the white people there, and chauffeur them away with their little waters, bottled waters. Like, it was really just wow.
That's a keen eye. Hell yeah, you caught that. That's a good one. I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
Storytelling, that says a lot.
I did not see that too. Wow.
Yeah, it's like, you had a fun time killing these brown people. Now come have a relaxing time on your way home. White people have
and actually thinking about it, how do they maintain bases in foreign lands anyway? Or how do they? I'm not suggesting or accusing them of killing people in spaces in order to have bases, but that's a very remote. Look at where the drones were being operated from. That seemed like that was a beautiful, lavish place, and I know they didn't build it. So who lived there prior? And
so other villages probably got sold out by their respective politicians as well.
Would that have become of the city? Would that?
What'd you say, Mary? Mary?
You're muted.
I didn't say anything. The sound relayed back from Trey because we're very close. So.
Oh, okay. But I was agreeing with what you were saying about that base of operations existing because to me that implies that other villages also exist that are also being sold out by their respective political leaders or whoever's in charge in the district or however you want to, however you want to name it. But other people are being sold out as well. It's not just that village.
Your message,
Exactly.
don't trust any of the oppressor's invitations ever, no matter what form it comes into, Man in a suit, nah.
Yeah, and I wanted to
The community.
comment on Ezekiel. Oh, sorry, Squad, my bad.
Yeah, I'm done. The community decides, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to comment on what Ezekiel said about like what led to them being there. And I want to start by going back to the scene where they're talking to the two non-whites who are trying to ascend to whiteness. So they say we're trying to help you with our mission. And the mission is very, very, very obscure and unexplained for a reason, because it's left to us to interpret. But to me, it's very clear that their mission is white supremacy, white domination, and like maintaining their survival. And to me, they're like, the mayor is just a way in. He's not really important. They don't see him as someone who's adding value. He's just a way into the community. They don't need to have the drones. They have the guns. They don't need this man. I have a feeling they're gonna move on to another village afterwards and continue doing this, because he said at the end of the film it's just the beginning. So yeah, we're gonna die anyway, because that's what happens when you mingle with the enemy. You either are forever underneath their control like a slave, and you have to live by their rule, or they'll take you out as well. They'll kill you too. When I say they, I mean like white people and people who classify themselves as white and white supremacists.
Every time I hear they always means the white supremacist power structure to me. Every time I hear they, I always know what the fuck they is. I know exactly what the fuck it is.
Yeah, evildoers, crusaders of evil.
Man.
Yeah, I think it's really great that they were using the community. The community aspect is a really important thing about this movie. That's the solution. A collective that's designed around our survival, our protection, our harmony. Because they were very like in harmony with one another, until the white people came, and that's typically the scenario. Yeah, there may be beef with other like nations and whatnot, but as a whole, it's typically peaceful. And then when the white people come, the kind of destruction that comes is never like the destruction that the warring tribes created. It's always like way, way, way worse than they ever conceived happening.
Because we're not vindictive in evil. We're not trying to cause suffering. It's some of these things are internal, and conflict is always bound to happen. But conflict is different. Like the scale of conflict is way lower in comparison to genocide. Genocide is the highest fucking level of conflict that exists. What's worse than that? There's nothing worse than genocide.
Yeah. Great, amazing point. Yeah. And so great. These I don't know where this story came from, but I don't know how these great piece of constructive art, I would call this.
Yeah.
Great. Dr.Frances Cress Welsing would definitely implore people to watch this and decode it and understand that genocide is happening, and it comes in many, many forms, and it's going to keep happening. So read the ISIS papers. Decode.
Speaking of the ISIS papers, we didn't talk about the leader of the pack sucking on that dick. He was sucking on that gun. Remember that?
Oh, I don't remember that. Say that again.
You remember when the guy stuck the gun in his mouth?
Oh wow, no, I don't remember that.
Like the guy took out the I don't know what kind of gun it was. It was like a revolver, a black revolver, and then he put it in his mouth before he got captured.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
saw
remember that. I thought he was going to kill himself, but when he
Me
didn't,
too. Yeah.
when he didn't, now I'm just thinking maybe he's just basically his way of suggesting he surrenders by putting the penis in his mouth. I don't know.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
Yeah, I guess.
I disagree. Well, I low-key disagree with that. I didn't. The symbolism I saw. Well, actually, to keep it a buck, I didn't really see any symbolism. I just thought he was being a coward and was gonna kill himself rather than get caught. But he could.
Like to me, when he put that, there was nothing like fearful or like I'm about to put a trigger at all. To me, it was very sensual, like how he put it in his mouth.
Like he was like, you know what? Fuck it. I guess I'll just eat a gun. You know?
I don't think he was gonna commit suicide. I didn't think that at all.
I thought he was too. I thought he was gonna blow his fucking brains out until he got captured.
I said I didn't think he was gonna kill himself. I thought he was just being
a weirdo,
being white. I thought he was doing white things, you know. And also, like Ben asked, why was he shooting his own people? I'm like, because he's insane. He's
a sociopath.
But let's think about it. The definition of his own people. The person who he shot. What did he not have? He didn't shoot the blonde-headed, dyed blonde-headed white man. He shot the curly-haired, dark-haired white man. Was like the most melanated of their bunch.
No, didn't he? I thought he shot the
He shot both of them. He shot everybody who he basically had in the crosshairs.
Okay.
Yeah, and like
true.
Back to Ben's thing. White people, like, first of all, they do the classifying, but at the end of the day, if out the classifications, they need these classifications to control themselves. But at the end of the day, this is what they do. They want to kill and they want to have fun doing it. Kill for glory, kill and justify it. It's all the same thing.
For honor.
Also, dehumanization. You remember how he was saying, "Are you shooting people?" Or is I'm shooting nobody. I'm shooting.
That's a good ass point.
Wait, say that again, Trey. I didn't hear you.
You know how he was his teammates were asking him, "Are you shooting at people?" He's like, "I'm shooting at nobody."
Yeah, that's a very specific set of words to use.
Yeah, he said no one. That's like,
because goddamn Trey, that's a good ass line you picked up, bro. That could have easily just went under the rug, bro. Fuck, that's
and like it's those undetected symbols that go undetected are the most deadly. Who are the nobodies? Who are everyone who is non-white is a nobody, and then when all the non-white people are gone, the white people will eventually turn on themselves.
Exactly. They couldn't find no natives to kill, so this motherfucker start killing the other people that was in this fucking group.
I'll just say the same thing, and I want to shout out Mary for making me remember. Mary
God damn.
I'm shooting no one, but Mary called that out, and I just like, wow, that's actually very true.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
The fucking thing that Jared said, I was going to say the same thing. Like, notice how when first of all, he's the oldest of the group, so he's the closest person to his death. So probably the most irrational. But he couldn't find like black people or brown people to murder and shoot and kill. He started shooting and murdering his own people just so he could get that,
Yeah.
Because he would have just blamed it on the people anyway.
Energy.
And they have so much desire to fucking murder. Like, there's 3 examples of that in the movie. There's the part where the guy and the girl, they were running through the field to try to intercept that car. They wanted to kill those people so fucking bad they couldn't even fucking breathe. Yeah. Another time is when they were in the village, and again, when that lady she couldn't find the villagers, so she just started shooting at random buildings, just hoping maybe if she gets lucky, she could fucking shoot somebody. And then that guy is the 3rd instance where he was like, well, fuck it. If I also can't find nobody, so I want to shoot y'all too. Fuck it. Like, I need somebody to shoot. Somebody has to be shot. Like, I have this gun, so somebody has to be fucking taken out.
Don't forget they murder that family and then they have sex right afterwards.
Immediately,
and
no hesitation. It was like, yeah, this is a good idea.
Yeah, also important. Like the woman is equally
responsible,
equally a part of this white supremacist collective. I really love. That's what I really love about this movie is that the woman is also portrayed as their true selves. You know what your partner is doing. You're also bad in this situation. So I love.
You're absolutely aware, of course.
Yeah. It shows us that the white women are also fucked up. It's not because of the white man. It's just by nature. You guys may be as equally fucked up. You know, not. So it's not me to say who's worse, but it's a bad collective white supremacist bunch.
That's fucking nuts, man. They just wanted to shoot something, no matter what it was, who it was, whether it's a person or an object. They're gonna shoot the fucking buildings. They're gonna shoot each other. If they can't find the natives, they're gonna shoot something.
I wanted to add to kind of going off of that wordplay thing. I don't know if it's like a minuscule thing, but I thought it was kind of funny when they were kind of having that like meeting, that briefing session with the other the non-white people ascending to try and be white. How the non-white people were like, yeah, we hired some guys up there to block the road for us. And she's like, she calls them, she corrects them. She's like, you mean the contractors, right? Like kind of
say that again, please. I'm sorry.
When they were at the meeting when they were having that briefing meeting, the non-white people were talking about how they had blocked the road up the street, like to keep anybody from coming in or going out. And she referred to them as people, but one of the little white girls there told, like, correct her and said, "You mean the contractors, right?" And I thought that was like funny because it's like, I don't know if it's because she doesn't want to like accept that she's getting help from non-white people for something, or if she just kind of wanted to take their like humanity away. Like, you know what I mean?
I think it's both. I think both points you presented are accurate based on the statement that she made.
It's a worship written word, and it's also always the dehumanizing of the other. You know, so yeah, you can't. Well, so these aren't people dummy. These are like, you know,
yeah.
You know, like it's
these are fucking checkpoints on it. They're just objects on a docket. They're a part of some kind of syllabus, some kind of weird, disgusting syllabus. Like
everyone here should watch that movie Patton. Watch that movie Patton. It's like it will show.
Which one?
Patton will show you how white people just throw like lives away and these things.
Bro.
Patton.
Patton.
Yeah.
Patten.
Owen.
Oh, Patton. Okay.
Yeah, let my other account into the meeting.
Is it from 1970, bro?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, is that the one where that guy was fucking giving that speech?
Yeah.
That you showed me? Man, oh my fucking God, bro. Oh, God damn.
White people, it's really war game. It's really like, this is a game to them. Our lives. Yeah, our lives.
This shit too much, bro.
Rename that.
Yeah, our lives are literally like, you know, just
a joke.
Nothing to these people. And we have to realize that. And communalize, rejuvenalize, you know, redevelop our collective of protection. You know, and I mean shedding everything that they've given us, especially this religion, you know. Yeah, great film.
Mm-hmm.
And
sorry, did anyone notice in the museum they already have like a set of beheaded people there? Was it just me? I thought I saw similar imagery.
There was a picture. There was a picture on the wall of some beheaded people. Yeah, I noticed that as well.
That's the tradition they do for their enemies. I really do that because that's
great foreshadowing.
It's a spiritual thing when you remove the head from the body, you know.
Yeah, I think like that, I think that's the only way to deal with them. You know, is how they deal with them in the film. You know, because that seems to be the only way they'll stop attacking is if they can no longer attack.
Yeah,
But
and how everybody at the end was like at the church with the heads at the front, and everybody had to look at it, man, woman, child. Everybody like had to pay attention. I thought that was really important to engrave that. No, like nothing is hidden from anybody.
yeah, yeah, that's the whole. Damn, community is so important.
It's the most important.
Yeah, white people have no community, and like that's why they destroyed all of ours. So, you know, yeah, this is
Yeah.
getting,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, this is getting me more just wanting to really do like more like outreach, just walk around my neighborhood, be like, yo, I got this book club, you want to join it? It's really good for like, you know, black people and like Mexicans and whatnot to join
I
because
agree.
it's good for your psyche and like we're supposed to be here protecting ourselves, and that's not really happening right now with the whole genocide happening.
I wanted to
So
say something about what Mary said first about like everyone witnessing that. I think it's really important. I read a book, I think it's called Tribes, and it talks about how like in wars, because we don't witness what happens like in America and I guess the UK as well, we're always having people go other places to commit acts of war, and the violence is never here, that we produce a group of people who collect like soldiers who have their trauma within themselves and do not have a community outlet to even understand that, because we don't see that violence that they see, and how it was really important for all those children and everyone to be aware of what was happening and to see like they didn't even have a separate place for the kids were like with everyone like bunkered down. And I think that that was really important, not to say that those kids should be in a line of danger, but to understand that like as a community, like these people are killing all of us, and therefore we all have to bear witness to this. So yeah, I just really liked what Mary said about that.
yeah, I think that was the safest place for the children to be with them all together. You know, the children. Yeah, white people are always like, you know, yeah, I totally, yeah, yeah, and like it was that also, yeah, just the whole scene, because you could tell that building was like protected because it had like a wall, and in order for like the building to be penetrated, that wall had to be penetrated first, you know. Whereas the other buildings didn't really have like that kind of like gate structure protecting it. You know, if you think about it strategically.
Um,
Any other viewpoints, you guys?
um, looking how the people were living depicted somewhat. I mean, I'm not African. I am African, but I've never like lived in Africa or like in inhabited African traditions.
Space.
But I feel like they were definitely getting back to their Africanness, and that's why they were able to be successful against their enemies and their colonizers and the people who were people who were killing their children and killing their men and women. I think that was really interesting how they lived so naturally. They did have like influences of the modern world, like cars. But other than that, they like grew their own. They grew their own food. They had a farm there for growing food. They have yeah, it was just great. It was a great little community, and that's what we need to be like reinvestigating. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was cool, the guy with the PA who would just like have like community announcements like every morning or something. And just the fact that like so many people here don't even know their neighbors' names. And yet like there, like everyone knows like whatever big announcement, if someone had a kid or whatever, you know. I think there was one that was like, you guys need to help this person do something. Why is nobody helping her? Or something like that. Like I just thought it was so like, I thought that was really cool.
I agree. I agree as well, definitely. I think no matter what point that we bring up, I think the biggest thing that we could take away from this movie, and I don't want to speak for everybody or nothing like that. I'm just saying, I think the biggest message we can take away from this film is how important community is and how important it is to cultivate a community as soon as possible, and how even if it's not a comfortable thing to talk about, we need to get people on board with recognizing that they live in a white supremacist society, because people want all these changes to occur, but I just don't think that the changes will occur if people are not aware. If people aren't aware of what's happening around them, then things will never change. It'll always be the same shit. And in 2086 is going to be somebody who's 21 years old going, damn, I don't know why the fuck we keep getting murdered in the streets. Like, this shit has to stop. Something has to happen to stop this immediately. Like, and I'm at the point right now where I'm willing to lose friendships behind this shit. Like, I don't care. Like, it means nothing to me. Like, if I have to lose people in my life because they're not on board with like getting themselves out of this bullshit, then so be it. Because I don't have time. Like, I don't think any of us really have time to like to fucking sit around and not be about a community. Like, we don't. What else other option do we have? Like, that's all I wanted to say about it.
Bobby, you're right. Universities, you need our communities, and that serves to like enlighten us and educate us and give us a power. We need power.
Yeah.
A lot of power comes from like community.
Yeah, and
I
we
think
need.
we also have to
Sorry.
normalize like doing things for people without any sort of investment or anything. Like, you may not get anything out of it, but you just do it because it's like another person, and
It's
not
the right
always
thing to do.
expecting reciprocity, but just like doing it as out of a duty, like a cosmic duty. I think that's really important to normalize, because I think people really only do things if they're gonna get monetary investment from it or entertainment from it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's we all been trained to be a European, and yeah, once we free ourselves of all these white values, we will, realize that a lot easier, and it'll be a lot easier to work with ourselves and our people amongst this process. But you're so right, Ash. We don't like the status quo. Literally, is just like on a 24 cycle of like consume, be entertained, consume, be entertained. Yeah, because I work so much. After that, I all I want to do is just consume and be entertained. That is not like a healthy.
It's not healthy at all, bro. But it's
that's a programming though. That's
man. It's hard. It's hard to cut through the bullshit, bro. It's very difficult. Like, I'm not giving excuses for not doing the work, for not reading the text, or for not fully understanding what's happening around you. But man, sometimes you're fucking working 40 hours a week and shit, like, you feel lost. You feel like you're just trying to fucking survive, and like, you don't make the time for yourself to do the things you need to do. But as far as the community aspect is concerned, if more people were, obviously more tapped into like this kind of information, then it would give somebody some kind of levity, if that makes sense. Like, you won't feel so overwhelmed if other people around you are not also just watching the fucking Kardashians. You feel me? Like, if other people are doing other shit, like reading this fucking book, like, to be honest, even myself, like, I have to be more dedicated to reading the text, and I feel like, I don't know why it's so fucking like, I'm kind of resistant to fucking read this shit, and I don't know why, like, because it's not something that's normal to me to just want to understand these practices and processes, like, and I'm trying to make myself understand that how vital it is for my mental flexibility and my survival in general to know this information. Like, it's just crazy, man. It's a lot about discipline. Discipline is so fucking important, and I feel like community can reinforce discipline for sure.
Yep, exactly. And
yeah.
To add to
I just wanted to add to what Jair was saying. Like, I feel we've all kind of been there, and I think that's definitely by design. And just, like, stuff like this, we're we're not meant to consume it, and they've programmed us to not want to consume it. But I think it has a lot to do, like you were saying, with discipline and also like prioritizing. Like the shit's not gonna be easy; it's gonna be work, you know. But I think it's important you also commend yourself for also trying to make an effort, because there are people out there that aren't making an effort, that do know this stuff, don't want to make an effort, and there are people who are completely oblivious to it. So at least we're out here trying to make an effort to do better. So.
Damn. Oh my God. Maybe we should I know everyone here has seen it, but just that point, that Parasite, maybe we should watch Parasite next, y'all, because have like decoding that movie, jeez, because that's a whole other like a whole other thing right there.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting in comparison to Parasite, because at the end of Parasite, I don't want to do spoilers if people haven't seen it. If anyone hasn't seen it,
I agree. We should watch that film. It's very fucking powerful.
But not just that. Think about the differences. Like in that Parasite, the family was kind of they were kind of disjointed. In that the sister was more able to assimilate into their culture. The brother really couldn't. Like it was very like confused. And at the end, chaos happens. Right? They're not really together. He talks about the best plan is no plan. Like there's no consensus. He just acts on like aggression without really thinking about it. And think about how much that movie is like praised. Have you even heard of this movie as a foreign movie? Like, no. And think about this as more like a measured response of like really having a community planning something. Because you can tell when the guy was like, we have taken like powerful drugs and you will die today. Like they already planned out, you know, when the mayor comes, he will die. There was no surprises. Everything was planned out.
Everybody was on board. Everybody was on board because they could see the benefit for themselves as a whole, rather than somebody individually being empowered over other motherfucking people. Like,
yeah, and with Parasite, the ending is chaotic, and the family ends up broken because they really didn't have a plan, a solution.
No community.
Yeah, and I mean, they had a community, but they didn't.
But it was disjointed, though. I agree. It was a lot of disjointed like methods of how they were living, for sure. And I like the way you described the movie without fucking ruining it. Yeah, like high key.
Survival unit like malfunctioned.
Oh yeah, ooh. When we read that in that fucking book, and not even a family, a survival unit, man, that's fucking crazy. Like that shit is sick. Ever since I read that, man, I know for a fact I grew up in a survival unit. I knew I grew up. I was like, man, fuck. Like,
yeah, I got my rations. I got my rations called. What is it? What are my rations called? Oh, I forgot. But Trey, you remember our rations were called?
What our rations were called? No.
Dang. I'm drawing a blank, but if I remember, I'll say the name. But,
rations. No.
It's not something we used to eat. It's like some pasta thing. But it was like,
ramen, bro.
What?
About ramen?
No, not ramen. No, not that. But it's like it's something really like so-called urban, you know, something that really only ate in the hood. So you know, that's why I'm calling it ration, because not really like.
What kind of food was it? Because what it like.
No, it was just like ground turkey and like some pasta. It was like, you know, nothing.
Oh, like rice-a-roni?
Yeah, that type of stuff. But it wasn't that. It was something in particular. I'm drawing a blank.
Hamburger helper and shit like that, and all that kind of shit, or like.
Just something to get you through the day. If not really like that healthy for you, you know, if you want to break it down. That's what I'm calling it, rations.
Oh, it's just bullshit food, like not real substance, like.
It's literal, like in a survival unit, you don't really get like, you know, food. You get stuff to survive.
Yeah, you get rations. Goddamn, man.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to contribute. I have to be on site tomorrow. I'm so mad about.
Should we pick the next movie or?
I thought we agreed it was
Yeah,
Parasite.
Oh, it's Parasite? Oh, okay.
I can fuck with that.
This is gonna be my sixth time watching Parasite.
Same.
Yeah.
Are y'all down or are y'all not down? Because I just want to make sure everybody's on board with that.
Long too.
I'm down for Paris.
I'm down.
It would be nice
I'm
to
down.
compare the two
I
different.
love Parasite. I'm down.
More time.
Yeah, me too. I'm
And the
down.
fact that we're doing it like week to week, we go from like a very collective oneness feel to a very individualistic mindset. It'll be really good to
I don't know. Is Parasite individualistic? They all have the same goal though. To like,
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it just in case. Don't ruin it just in case.
I don't think it's individualistic. I just think it's not.
I've seen it, but I don't know if everybody has seen it though. You know, like I don't know if everybody.
I get a very every man for himself kind of vibe.
Have we all seen this movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we all know what it is, but we should still watch it anyway. I think it's a good movie to observe.
Yeah. Plus, other people will like Ben, Celia. Other people will be there too.
True. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That I would love to talk about that shit. I can't wait to unpack that fucking movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it through a decoded lens, so a white supremacist lens. So that's our next movie.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, the Bacurau. Everyone should watch this film. 10 out of 10 solutionaries.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely requires a lot of patience to. I thought it required a little patience for the payoff. I felt like, but I think it's worth it though.
No,
I thought it was paced perfectly. Like I liked watching their whole community.
I don't know. I was dead ass falling asleep at the first. I was like, God damn, this shit is taking a minute. But then when it started happening, it really happened. I was like, oh, okay, well, here we are.
I could watch them just exist all day.
Yeah.
It was so amazing.
I found the film very constructive.
And I was thinking about the black gaze and just like how the colors were popping and how it complemented all the different shades of melanin. I was just like, wow. This is like what every music video is of today because we're trending.
Yeah, the colors were beautiful. Like the sky, I had never seen a sky that blue. Like that was crazy.
Yeah, a very constructive film. Something to watch with your family.
Oh man, I want my parents to be not my parents, but my mom to be open-minded enough to watch this movie.
Maybe on Netflix. I think my mom would definitely watch it. I'm sure she would.
Watch what? Parasite?
No.
Bacurau?
That movie, I'm sure.
I watched Parasite with my mom already.
Yeah, I know.
Bacurau, yeah, she'd watch it for sure. I agree. The cinematography and the lighting and like having those just faces in the whole frame were amazing. The whole movie was shot really well.
And it's also really cool to like reclaim the Western, which is like about, killing indigenous people and turning it around, which was really cool too.
Yeah.
I love the shots that they used for the school scenes when the elder was educating the young children, the way the camera just kind of followed them all in. And it was very much like the kids' perspective, like this is for them. I really enjoyed that how they showed that.
Me too.
Yeah, great depiction of community, great depiction of white supremacy, white people, white supremacists, suspected racists, practicing racists, race soldiers.
Yeah, I'm gonna also send the link that I sent in the group to the WhatsApp. I will definitely do that actually, but I do recommend everybody to research Mariela Franco because like I could not stop thinking about her in that sense because that's what she wanted for the favelas. She wanted to have that oneness. She wanted to encourage a sense of community and also wanting them to thrive, believing that they should have access to everything that everybody in the main city centrals have access to. And it's pretty hard to try and do in favelas, and she achieved a lot before she was killed. So I'd recommend it. Recommend learning more about her.
Yeah, I think all the coloring, like the skin, like all the skin tones that we saw in this movie was definitely intentional for sure. The truth will always find its way out, So all you heathens come from Black people, you know. So yeah, work together to protect yourselves, or you will be destroyed. You know, that's what's going on. Could be wrong, you know. We could be proven. We could be wrong that genocide is happening, but I think it's happening.
I think you're right about that. I think it was definitely intentional. There's no like color hierarchies at all or anything like that, and within that community. So I think that was important, even with the outside not white people that were doing the surveillance, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I remember Swa was watching a documentary and they said how like in Brazil, the lower poor, like working class communities are mixed and don't really have racial hierarchies, but everyone in the upper class, all the politicians and stuff are white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in their army, they don't have any like at a certain division, everyone becomes white. You know, like the higher the white, and that's white supremacy, and that's genocide right there. And also, but Ezekiel mentioned like the drone that they're using was an alien, right? I think that's really important that it was an alien thing because they like to attribute things that like it just really like I don't want to open that Pandora's box, but I think white people like to use aliens to like take credit away from like the things that they know Black people did. Like you try to say aliens built the pyramids. You know, Black people built the pyramids. You know, we know aliens did not build the pyramids or come down and help Black people build the pyramids either, probably. But I think it's really important that it was like a flying saucer because they like to create these these distractions, you know, to cause more confusion and deceit. Because white supremacy is refined and maintained through confusion and deceit.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So.
But yeah, y'all, it's been so nice hanging out with y'all and talking to y'all. And I'll see you guys Wednesday.
All right, Kenji, I'll catch you soon, Trey.
I'll be on set tomorrow.
Night.
Bye,
all right. Get some sleep, G. All right, Mary.
Yeah. Good night, Mary.
So, all right, guys. Good night. It was amazing decoding that with you. That was a great movie. That's going in my archives. I want it forever.
RGB cool.
All right. Let's say, guys.
I'm uploading a video on my Instagram for one of those scenes. That machete scene needs to go down on my Instagram for sure.
They got the shadow gun your ass.
I've been doing that for years on Instagram. I don't know how I get followers. I don't even know how I get followers, honestly. Real
recognize real, bro. You already know.
I'm banned on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm banned from Snapchat, you know. Death to racism, white supremacy, you know. Death to racism, white supremacy.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. All right, peace out, y'all.
All right, y'all. Y'all be safe, y'all.
Love, peace, and blessings. Pass on.
Word up.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Have a blessed day. I'm going to bed as well.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye, Mary.
Peace. Good night. Well, have a blessed day.
Wow. Powerful shit, right? Powerful shit, guys. A lot. Kendra, what'd you think about it, yo?
No, I didn't say much, right?
You've been silent. Word.
I was really just listening to you guys discuss it, but yeah, just like seeing how it ended really just brought everything together as far as
full circle.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to watch. Like I said, it was pretty graphic. Usually I'm good with graphic like movies. I have no issues. But this one, I think the head being blown off was pretty traumatic. And then from there, it just like went like full speed. So
yeah, I think it was definitely important to show it to be that violent though, because violence in real life is it's fucked up. It's really bad. It's super terrible. So you know.
Yeah, they went over there thinking about to have fun killing people, and now your head's blown off. Isn't that not different, right? It's different now.
What a
right?
twist!
And then her begging for her life, like
I was like, how fucking dare you? How dare you? How dare you beg for forgiveness? What the fuck? I was so done. I was like, all right, okay, of course, beg for forgiveness, you monster. Like,
I also wanted to say that I think it is now a Lovecraft Country free space.
Yes, can we please?
Oh my
Oh,
God.
okay.
Can we please